Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance's webinar series. My name is Christine Beck, and I'm excited to welcome you to Speak Up for Supportive Housing. As a reminder, all attendees are in listen-only mode. If you wish to communicate with the presenters, just do so using your control panel, typing in your question, comment, or contribution, and we will receive it and read it out loud. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be able to be found on our Facebook page. It's the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance, our Facebook page, as well as our website under webinar recordings. Today is Tuesday, January 30th, 2018, and I am very excited to be here with Julie Verdew and Julie Nelson. They're going to be speaking up for supportive housing. Just a little bit about the Alliance. We are a statewide team of self-advocacy groups in Illinois. We work together to make life better in our communities and work to make services better in our state. The Alliance wants groups from around the state to speak together with one loud voice. We can do more when we all work together. Currently, we have 25 Alliance member groups all around the state of Illinois. No matter where you live or work, you are not far from an Alliance member group. From way up north, we have member groups in Zion and McHenry. We also have a member group in Rock Island. Our Chicagoland is well represented with many member groups, including groups in Alsip, Brookfield, Chicago, Chicago Heights, Homewood, Joliet, and Lisle. We also have member group in Pontiac, LaSalle, Peru, Beardstown, Bloomington, Jacksonville, Decatur, Monticello, Champaign, and even in Charleston. Our two final groups can be found in Alton and the Alton-Edwardsville area, where Julie Verdew and I are joining you live today. So let's get started.
We want Illinois to create disability services systems where supports and services are controlled by us, that individuals will receive them. We want opportunities, we want freedom, and we want choices. Julie Verdew will read this. Today, we will learn about supporting housing. Here is a video I like that tells you a bit about what supporting housing is like.
Well, thank you, Julie. So again, I'm going to show you this little video about what supportive housing is like. You're going to see some movement on the screen so that I can get to that video and show it to you. You will not hear the music, and I will speak the words. It's a little bit of a rap song. It's really neat. And at the end of this presentation, we will give you the web address so that you can go and check that video out. So you're seeing me toggle around, and here we go. This is a video called It's My Home. Hands off, it's my home. Hands off, it's my home. It's my home. Hands off, it's my home. It's my home. I don't have a schedule tacked to my wall. I don't expect to find one anywhere at all. If the telephone is ringing, I pick up to see who calls. I don't have great big posters about slip, strip, and falls. Oh, I decide who enters in, which people I'll greet. I decide on furniture, which bed, which bath, which seats. I decide the temperature and when to turn up the heat. All the things belong to me. I don't have strangers coming in, changing channels. All the mail I get to open. I have dominion in my castle. I have privacy. I don't use my home for training. The colors I get to choose, all records are kept, are accurate and true. If I really wanted to, I'd own 100 pairs of shoes. I make my own choices and decisions. Any plan I have has my own wishes. I invite who I want to come in. No office do I have. I decide who to hire. I decide where I want to store my meds. I can keep my mom out of my accommodation, and I don't have a weekly fire evacuation. I can try new things. I make up my own mind about everything. When I need support, I'll tell you. Hands off, it's my home, or Sam Sly and I will sue. Oh my goodness, that went very quickly. I really do encourage you, though, to once you get to the end and you see that link to take you to It's My Home, to go ahead and check out that particular video, because I know I did not do it justice, did I, Julie?
You did great.
Yeah, we all work together, and I thank you for saying that.
Okay. So this is
Sure.
Julie is an expert in supporting housing. She lives in her supporting housing and completes training to be supporting housing for exhibitor.
So tell us a little bit about you, Julie. Tell us what you really like.
I like the Cardinals.
Like the Cardinals.
I like to hang out with my friends.
Okay.
And I like to play sports.
All right. So Julie shared with me that she's the Cardinals' #1 fan. So for any of you Cubs fans out there, you know, she's the #1 Cards fan. She also likes the St. Louis Blues. And Julie shared with me this morning that she just got a medal for a sport. So what color medal did you get?
A gold medal, special basketball.
All right, so Julie is a gold medalist in Special Olympic basketball. And so what's next for your basketball team? You go to state.
In Bloomington.
In Bloomington. So hope there's other athletes out there. I hope you're doing well in your training and in your competition. So thanks, Julie, for letting us know a little bit about you. And so,
hi everyone.
Yeah, thanks. You met Julie Verdue, and now you get to meet Julie Nelson.
So good morning, everyone. I'm excited to work with Julie Verdue and Christine, and I'm really happy to be here. So I work at CSH. I live up in Chicago, and what we do at CSH is we really work to help other people know about supportive housing. So we talk about what supportive housing is, and if someone feels like it might be the right choice for them, we can also help kind of coach people through what steps to take. So what steps need to happen in order to get supportive housing. We also work with the Illinois Developmental Disability System and providers to do some coaching for them around how to offer this housing choice. One important thing is that the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities supports all of this work that we do. So we're really excited to always work with the council.
Wonderful. And I will mention, this is Christine Beck, that the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities also funds the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. So we're doing lots of great work because of the support from the council. So what are we going to do during our time together today? Julie, are you there?
Oh, sorry, I muted myself for just 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry. So we're really excited to be here with all of you. We're going to talk about what is supportive housing. So we're just as a group going to talk about what supportive housing is, We're going to talk a little bit about how to get supportive housing, and we're really here to also learn from Julie because she is an expert in supportive housing.
Well, let's start with the first thing. Why are we here?
So the first thing we're going to do is go through what supportive housing is. And I think Julie Verdu is going to talk to us about housing wishes and dreams.
Well, I'm going to show this slide first. This shares a couple of different pictures of self-advocates who are currently enjoying supportive housing. There's also people in the pictures with them who have helped support them in their journey of supportive housing and been cheerleaders for them. So just wanted to share that first. And here we go.
We are here to learn about supportive housing and speak up. Self-advocates are the best advocates for supporting housing. Read your speech and
So tell us about supportive housing. How long have you lived in supportive housing?
I live here. It'll be 2 years in February 20th.
So almost 2 years. And what do you like best about living here?
I get to do my own rules.
Your own rules. That's really important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so do you have other friends who live in supportive housing?
Yes.
Okay. And do you get to visit with them?
All the time.
All the time. And when you talked about your own rules, can you stay up as late as you want?
Yeah.
All right. So sometimes those Cardinals games go a long time. So you can stay up and watch them. All right. How often do you have staff who help you out?
All the time, because they take me to work and take me to the grocery store and help me cook.
Okay. So
we hang out with them too.
Oh, so that's neat. You get to hang out with them. But in supportive housing, do you need staff here 24 hours a day?
24 hours a day.
So you get staff when you need them.
Yeah. They're here from 7 to 9. To 7 in the morning and 9 p.m.
Okay. All right.
And we have night out too.
Okay. So what advice would you give a friend who is thinking about supportive housing?
That it's nice to live in your own apartment.
Okay. Do you get to decorate it however you want?
Yes.
All right. And you told me that you have a dog.
Yes.
And does the dog sometimes come visit you? Yes?
Yes.
Do you have any friends who live in supportive housing who have pets?
Courtney.
Oh, okay. And so what does Courtney have?
A dog named Trim. I don't know what kind of dog.
But a dog.
Yeah.
All right. So sometimes with supportive housing, you can have pets. But do you have to check with anybody?
You have to be under 30 pounds. 30 to under.
So sometimes it depends on where you live. There might be some restrictions.
Yeah.
You might not be able to have a snake or an iguana.
You can have it.
But you might be able to have a dog if it's under 30 pounds. All right. So thank you for sharing a little bit about supportive housing. So 2 years. Here's to many, many more years.
What is a housing option to do people with
intellectual
and development disability have? Where can people live? Where would you like to live? What kind of place is it? And who do you live with?
All right, so Julie's asking about your housing wishes and dreams. So for those of you who are attending this webinar, we want to hear from you. Now is your time to speak up and speak out. We're going to ask you to type in using your control panel, and we'll read your comments out loud. So tell us what your dream is. Where would you like to live? What kind of place is it? Who would you live with? What kinds of things would you have in your dream place? So again, think of those housing wishes and dreams. Where do you dream of living? Is it in the city or in the country? Would you have a dog or a cat? Would you live by yourself? Would you live with a best friend? Would you find a different roommate? Would you like it to be close to the movie theater or grocery store? Would you like to be kind of out where it's a little bit more quiet, near a cornfield, near some woods? Tell us about your housing wishes and dreams. So again, use that control panel to type in, and we will read your comments out loud. This is for everybody to do. All right, and so folks are chiming in. And so from CTF Advocacy in Charleston, they shared back in Chicago, well, I'd like to live back in Chicago. I'd want to live with my friend, and that comes from Terry. So Terry, thank you very much. Back in Chicago, living with a friend. And from Tara, who's also a member of the Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance. She says, I want to live in Evanston with my husband and a dog, and I would like to have a garden and a big kitchen. All right. Yeah, you know, we all have housing wishes and dreams. And from CTF Advocacy in Charleston, John says, I'd like to live with my girlfriend. Yeah, you know, how nice. All right, Kathleen from CTF Advocacy in Charleston says, I'd like to live with my daughter in Casey, and Casey is a town in Illinois. I'd also like to have a dog. So we've got a couple people who'd like to have pets, right? Other people, it sounds like they'd like to live with other folks instead of live by themselves, and everybody likes to do it differently. So thank you for sharing some of your housing wishes and dreams.
What is important? Some people want housing that is close to school or work, easy to get around, near a job, training opportunities, accessible, or has services they want in a safe neighborhood close to friends and family, close to or has social things to do for fun, private with own space.
All right, and we heard about some of those. Nearly everybody who's chimed in said they wanted to live close to friends or family, or maybe even live with friends or family. But we have some other folks who have chimed in, and I can't wait to share these. From CTF Advocacy Center, Vicki says, I want to live with my sister in Paris, Illinois. There is a Paris, Illinois, and Vicki would like to have a cat and a fish. So Vicki, thank you for sharing that. Christina from Livingston County Advocates in Action in Pontiac, Illinois said, some of our folks would like to live in the country with lots of animals and seclusion with significant others. Others would like to live with their best friends. So, you know, it sounds like each of us are individual in what we want. And so it isn't one size fits all. It's very personal, which I really, really like. So thank you, everyone, for sharing about those housing wishes and dreams. So, Julie, tell us about choice.
Yeah,
and I should have said Julie Nelson, since we have two Julies today.
We got to double trouble with our Julies today. So we really wanted everyone to know and remember that it's your choice. Self-advocates get to choose. No one should have to give up on a dream. We know sometimes it can take a lot of work, and sometimes it can take some time, but we want to talk about what your choice is.
And for
the next,
I'm sorry, for those of you who have spoken up, that's really a great first place to start, speaking up and sharing what your housing hopes and dreams are.
So we're really excited to do another little review section where we're going to have an opportunity for everyone to chime in and say what you think for the answers to some of these questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a couple questions, and Julie Verdu is going to read the question out to us. And then anyone who's listening in, you can type in what you think the answer is. And so Christine is going to help us see what all or hear what all the answers are that everyone's typing in. And then we'll talk about what the answers are. So Julie Verdu, are you ready to read those questions?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. All right, so let's get ready. Go ahead, Julie.
What are the different housing choices? With 4 or more people, with a roommate they choose, by myself, a parent, and family.
All right, so with supportive housing, what are the different housing choices? And you can go ahead and use that control panel to chime in. Is a choice to live with 4 or more people? Is it a choice to live with a roommate if you choose? Is it a choice to live by yourself? Or is it a choice to live with parents and family? So again, go ahead and use that control panel to chime in. What are the supportive housing choices? Living with 4 or more people, getting to choose a roommate, living by yourself, or having to live with parents and family. So we'll let you have a moment to type in your answers and we'll read them out loud, and then we'll find out what the answers are. So again, what are the different housing choices for supportive housing? And here come some answers. All right, from CTF Advocacy Center, the answers they share are being able to live with family, having a roommate, or living by themselves. All right, thank you for sharing that. Does anybody else want to share? What are the housing choices? Living with 4 or more people, being able to choose a roommate, living by yourself, or living with parents and family. And we'll keep it open. Here we go. I know as soon as I say something, someone's going to chime in. Livingston County Advocates in Action in Pontiac said, the majority of our group chose living with 4 or more people or a roommate. All right, thank you. Also, Livingston County Advocates in Action said, we did have a small group that would like to be independent or live by themselves. So thank you for that. All right, so let's see. Julie Nelson, are you ready to share the answers?
I am.
All right, here we go.
Excellent. So everybody's right. The answer to this is that there's all of these housing choices, and the right answer is whatever you pick. So whatever option you feel like is best for you, that's the right answer. This is all personal. It's whatever you think is best, and it's really about whatever your own hopes and dreams are.
All right.
So now, Julie's going to read us another question.
Who should you get to choose? Illinois system, parents and family, your self-advocate, and staff.
All right, so who should choose where you live? When you think of supportive housing, who gets to choose? Is it the Illinois system that chooses? Is it your parents or family members that choose? Is it a self-advocate, or you get to choose? Or is it the staff who gets to choose? So again, who should get to choose where you live and how you live? The Illinois system, parents or family, you get to choose, or staff. And we have some people chiming in already. Okay, I can almost hear the group shouting from here, from CTF Advocacy in Charleston. They say self-advocate. And Tara Ahern says, I choose as a self-advocate. Okay, so far we've got 2 votes for self-advocate choosing. Livingston County Advocates in Action. Self-advocates get to choose. All right. Anybody else want to share what they think the answer is on who should get to choose? We'll leave it open for just a couple more seconds before we ask Julie Nelson what the answer is. So again, who should get to choose? The Illinois system, parents or family, the self-advocate, or staff? All right, well, Julie Nelson, I think we're ready for the answer.
Fantastic. So I love all the participation, and you guys are right. You get to choose. Self-advocates should get to choose where they live and how they want to live.
All right. Okay, we have some more reviewing to do here. This is wonderful.
Self-advocacy must live in supporting housing. True or false?
All right, so what do you think? Is this true or is it false? Self-advocates must live in supportive housing. Would you say that's true or would you say that's false? So go ahead, type in using your control panel and let us know what you think. True or false? Self-advocates must live in supportive housing. Now, when we got some people chiming in. All right. CTF Advocacy Center in Charleston said that's false. All right. Anybody else want to share? Livingston County Advocates in Action in Pontiac, they said false. All right. Anybody else want to share? True or false? Self-advocates must live in supportive housing. Tara says false. Thank you. All right. So, Julie Verdue, do you think we're ready for folks to know what the answer is?
Yeah.
Okay. Julie Nelson, what do you think? What's the right answer?
The right answer is false. So supportive housing is one option, but that doesn't mean self-advocates have to live in supportive housing.
All right, and I like that people have a lot of different options. As we said, we're all individual. Yeah. No two of us are alike. All right, we have some more questions to ask.
Self-advocates can choose what kind of housing they want. True or false?
All right, another true or false. Self-advocates can choose what kind of housing they want. So, talk amongst yourselves. Go ahead and type it in using your control panel and let us know. Would you say that's true? Would you say that's false? Oh, we've got a lot of true, true, true. I can almost hear people yelling all the way from Charleston and all the way from Pontiac. We've got 2 trues so far. 2 trues. So you think we're ready to see the answer for this? All right. Julie Nelson.
Absolutely. So the answer is true. Self-advocates can choose what kind of housing is right for them.
All right. I like this. I'm hearing a lot about choice and people getting to say what works best for them. That makes me very happy.
Awesome. So now we're going to talk about what is supportive housing so that you can know a little bit more about what supportive housing is. And then later on, Julie's going to tell us what it's like because she lives in supportive housing. So when you think about supportive housing, sometimes it looks like a house that might be down the block from you. And one of the pictures is Annie's home, and she's actually a member of one of the Alliance groups.
All right.
And then there's other kinds of places. So sometimes people live in supportive housing and they're in an apartment building. So if you see the apartment building on the bottom of your screen, it's a picture and not a drawing. That's actually Julie Verdue's apartment building. So you can see sometimes supportive housing is a house and sometimes supportive housing is an apartment. And I'm sorry, Julie Verdue, you were going to say something.
That's the May apartments.
Absolutely. And we're excited because we're going to hear more from Julie Verdue about the May apartments. So I'm going to give you a quick summary of what supportive housing is. So supportive housing is long-term. Someone can live there for years and years, for as long as they want. When you have supportive housing, you have to have a lease. And we're going to talk about what a lease is in a little bit. It also needs to be affordable. So what that means is when you live in an apartment or home, you probably have to pay rent. And when you pay rent, you need to be able to afford it. So it's a little bit of your money, but not all of your money. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means. Another really important thing about supportive housing is that you live in a neighborhood just like anybody else. Another important thing is that you can either live alone or you can live with a friend. You can live with a boyfriend or girlfriend, a spouse, anyone that you choose. That's the main thing about supportive housing, is that you get to pick who you live with. And then the last thing is that when you're in supportive housing, there's services that provide you support for whatever you might need. So you heard Julie talk about earlier how she has staff that helps her go around, get places, she gets to work, and we'll talk a little bit more. But really, the main thing is that you have services that come to you in your apartment that help you with whatever you need. So supportive housing is different. It's not a nursing home. It's not a residential program, and it's not a group home. So it's different from each one of those options.
Okay, supportive housing must have a lease. Self-advocacy signs a lease and must follow the rules. Can live there for a long time. Self-advocacy can live alone or with the roommate they choose. Should I read that one?
Well, tell me what a lease is.
A lease is that you pay rent. That's how much a month you have to pay a year. 1 month of the first day of the month.
Okay, so the lease tells you how much you have to pay and when you have to pay it. And does the lease say if you can have a pet or not?
Yeah.
Okay. Does the lease say if you get a parking space or not? All right. And does the lease have any other rules with it? Rules you might have to follow in your apartment complex?
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes leases do. And then how do you pay rent? Tell me how that works.
You write check every once a month.
You write a check. All right. And then once you write that check, take it to the office. Do you know that other people might have to mail it somewhere, like to their landlord?
No, they always put it in the mailbox by the office.
Okay, so in your building, you take your check that you write on the first of the month and you take it and put it in the mailbox by the office. But I know that some other folks have to write their check and they put it in an envelope and they mail it to their landlord. So there could be different ways to pay. Now, can you tell me, do you write the check by yourself? Yeah. Okay. What if someone has trouble writing a check? Can they still live in supportive housing?
Yes.
Yeah. So how would they write that check if they don't know
how to stamp?
Put a stamp? Could they ask the staff to help them?
Yes.
All right. So sometimes people don't know how to write checks, and that's okay. You can still live in supportive housing. You just ask your staff for what you need. Thank you.
So we wanted to talk about rent. When you're in supportive housing, it's really important that you can afford to pay your rent. So let's say you have $100. If your rent is $100, that means you have no money left to maybe buy some food or buy soap or paper towels. So when we talk about supportive housing, we want to make sure that everyone can afford to pay their rent and then still have a little bit of money left over so that you can have friends over, or you can go out to dinner, or you can buy the food that you need for every day. And, you know, maybe buy Christmas presents or holiday presents or birthday presents. Really, the main thing to remember is that you're paying rent and it's not all of the money that you have.
Supporting housing is for everyone who needs a little or a lot of extra help in order to live on their own. Talk about Trinity and the workers that help you. What do the workers help out with?
So, Julie, you have staff who come from an agency called Trinity Services. And you already shared a little bit about they come at 7 o'clock in the morning and they work with several different people in this apartment complex. So when you heard Julie say they come at 7 in the morning and they're here till 9 at night, they're not with Julie all that time. There's 5 other people that they support who also live in supportive housing here at the apartment complex. So how many days does Trinity staff help you?
Every day.
Every day. So sometimes if you need help every day, they're here every day.
Yep.
And tell us again, what kinds of things do they help you with?
Take me to work, take me grocery shopping, fix my hair for a special thing.
Oh, yeah, sometimes we need our hair done for special events. Yeah. All right. What if you want to go?
We do activities too, Dad.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the activities that you do that Trinity staff help you with.
They take us to the movies, bowling, swimming, YMCA, interactions.
Okay, so it's not just helping you around your apartment, it's also taking you out into the community to do those fun things. All right. Do they help you cook?
Yes.
All right. What's your favorite thing to cook?
I like to cook I like to cook buffalo chickens.
Buffalo chicken?
Yeah.
All right. I'm there. When are you cooking it next? All right. Oh, did you hear that wasn't an offer, but so you have staff to help you with the things you need help with. And that's a big part of supportive housing. A lot of people may say, I can't live in supportive housing because I need help. You can live in supportive housing and get help.
Great. So there's 3 kinds of support that people can get in supportive housing. So we just heard Julie talk about all the different kinds of ways someone can get support or get a little extra help in their apartment. We heard about help paying bills or traveling or getting to activities, maybe medication reminders. So those are all the different kinds of services and support someone can have in their home that Julie Verdue just told us about. And so there's 3 different ways that staff can get hired in supportive housing. Sometimes an agency hires your staff. Sometimes parents hire the staff. And then sometimes the self-advocate hires their staff. So it just depends. And these are the 3 different ways that you can get supports in your own apartment.
All right. So here is another opportunity to review what you just heard in terms of supportive housing. So we are going to ask you to check the choices. But Julie Verdue is going to read the question. She's going to read those choices, and then you're going to chime in and let us know what you think those choices are. So I hope you're ready. Julie, are you ready?
Yes. People who have supporting housing can live with parents or family, in an apartment, in a house, or in a group home.
All right, so people who have supportive housing can live with their parents or family. They can live in an apartment, they can live in a house, or they can live in a group home. So let us know what you think the right answers are. So go ahead and use that control panel to type in your answers. People who have supportive housing can live. And here's something, we want you to check 2 boxes. So think of the 2 boxes or the 2 choices that best represent how people who have supportive housing can live. Can they live with their parents or family, in an apartment, in a house, or in a group home? All right, so folks at Livingston County Advocates in Action have a couple different answers. First, they said all of the above. Then they said in an apartment and in a house. All right, thank you, Livingston County Advocates in Action in Pontiac, Illinois. And from sunny Charleston, CTF Advocacy Center, their choices were in a house and an apartment. So let's see how they did. Julie Nelson,
Great.
tell them how they did.
So the 2 answers are in a house or in an apartment. So for anyone who lives in supportive housing, they can live in a house or in an apartment, either one.
All right. So, you know, that really says that whether you want to live up in Chicago or in Paris or KC or even out in the country, you might be able to find an apartment or a house to do that with, right?
That's right.
All right. Here's another question.
People who have supportive housing can live with their roommates. They choose with 4 or more people or by themselves.
All right, here's another question for you, and we want you to pick 2. So people who have supportive housing can live with a roommate they choose, with 4 or more people, or by themselves. Which 2 would you choose? People who have supportive housing can live with a roommate they choose, with 4 or more people, or by themselves. Which 2 would you choose? So go ahead and use your control panel, type in your choices, and send them to us. We'll read them out loud. And here we go. You guys must have had your Wheaties this morning because you are all over it. So CTF Advocacy Center, their choices are by themselves and with a roommate. All right. So thank you, CTF Advocacy Center, for sharing your 2 choices of by themselves and with a roommate. Does anybody else want to share what their choices are of people who have supportive housing can live with the roommate they choose, with 4 or more people, or by themselves? What are your 2 choices? All right, I think we're going to move on to the answer. And so, Julie Nelson, what are the answers?
So people who live in supportive housing can live with a roommate they pick, or they can live by themselves. So great job, everybody.
Yeah, but wait, there's more.
How much does supporting housing cost? None of my money, some of my money, all my money.
All right, so you're going to pick one answer here. How much does supportive housing cost? Is it free? You don't have to pay any money. Does it cost some of your money, or does it cost all of your money, like you have no money left? So again, how much does supportive housing cost? Is it none of my money, so it's totally free? Is it some of my money, so I pay some, but I get to save some to spend on other things like food and maybe medicine, decorations, yeah, going out to have fun? Or does it cost all of my money? I have to give them all my money and I don't have any money left. So let's see what folks say. So from Livingston County Advocates in Action, they said it's going to cost some of my money. And from CTF Advocacy Center, they also said it's going to cost some of my money. So Julie Nelson, what's the right answer?
Yes, so supportive housing costs some of my money. It's not going to be free. You do have to pay rent, but it's also not going to be all of your money, just some of it.
All
great
right.
job, everyone.
Yeah. And again, let's put that thinking cap back on. I think this might be our last one, but Julie Verdue.
People who have supporting housing can have pets, must have staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, can come and go when they want, must go to a workshop every day, must sign a lease.
All right, so we want you to pick 3 choices. So people with supportive housing, can they have a pet? Do they have to have staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Can they come and go when they want? Do they have to go to workshop every day? And do they have to sign a lease? So again, we want you to pick 3. And this is what folks are saying. From CTF Advocacy, they've chosen they can have a pet, they can come and go when they want, and they sign a lease. So those are their 3 choices. And Livingston County Advocates in Action, we're going to wait for you to chime in because this is our last little review quiz, and we want to hear from you. So again, people with supportive housing, we want you to choose 3. Can they have a pet? Do they have to have staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Can they come and go when they want? Do they have to go to workshop every day? And do they have to sign a lease? So pick 3 and let us know. Type in using that control panel, or really anybody else who is participating. If you want to chime in on this review, let us hear from you. So pick 3. Which 3 would you pick? Which 3 do you think are correct? Can you have a pet? Do you have to have staff 24 hours a day? Can you come and go when you want? Do you have to go to workshop every day? And do you have to sign a lease? All right, so thank you, Livingston County Advocates in Action, for chiming in. You must sign a lease, you can have a pet, and you can come and go when you want. So Julie Nelson, are you ready to share what the answers are?
I am. So great job to everybody who chimed in from Livingston. The right answer is when you're in supportive housing, you might be able to have a pet, you can come and go when you want, and you have to sign a lease. So those are the 3 right answers. Great job, everyone.
Okay, how to get supportive housing. Let people you know your institute and options who can talk to you. 1 is family and friends. 2 is work at independent service donation and advocacy. Workers at the provider and agency and talk about it all person-centered planning meetings and ask that it's writing into your plan.
All right, so these are some ways to get supportive housing. The first is speaking up and speaking out. And so, Julie, how did you get your apartment at the May building?
what's her name? 500.
So you told somebody.
Somebody told me, Lori Baker helped us.
All right, so you told Lori Baker, and she works in the Illinois government. All right, so you talked to her. Who else helped out? Was it just you and Lori doing
Parents.
this? Parents, okay. So sometimes parents and family members can help with that process. So we heard family and friends, a worker at the Independent Service Coordination Agency, maybe your PASS agent or your ISA or ISC person, or if you currently receive services at an agency, you can let staff there know. And above all, talk about it at your person-centered planning meetings and ask that it's written into your plan.
Yeah.
Julie Nelson, what else would you add?
So when I talk to some people, sometimes you have to tell a couple different people about your dreams and hopes to live in your own place. So don't be afraid to tell a lot of people. Tell family, tell friends, tell your workers. You know, my friend Heather, she told 3 or 4 different people, and probably even more than that. And she was kind of having a hard time, but she kept talking about it. And she's been talking about it, and she's not giving up. So if the first person says, oh, that's not a good idea, or, oh, I'm not going to help you do that, then find someone else. And definitely, please don't give up and keep talking about it. Absolutely don't give up. And you can always call Christine, you can call me, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because we want to make sure there's people out there that you can ask if you have more questions or if you aren't sure what to do next.
All right. So we would like for you to learn from some experts, and certainly you've been learning from Julie Verdue, who is an expert because she is experiencing supportive housing. You've also been hearing from Julie Nelson. She's an expert because she can help share about the message of supportive housing and help to link people up with supportive housing. But there's another expert out there.
Here's a video about Tom. He lives in his own place too.
So Tom is a self-advocate. He lives up in the Chicago area. He's a really, really neat guy. Towards the end of this webinar, we're going to give you the webinar link for you to get to the video about Tom. We don't have enough time to play it because we want to have some time if you have any questions, comments, or considerations, but we want you to be able to check that video out when you are able. It's about 5 minutes and it's really, really awesome.
Welcome to Edwardsville. The mayor building was created through many efforts of
Collaboration
of self-advocacy family divisions of disability state housing coordinator. Lori Baker, Madison County Housing Authority, Trinity Insurance, Legacy Family Advocacy Program, and Disability Services in Metro. Julie will answer the questions about living in her own apartment. She's an expert.
So the main building, which is the apartment complex where Julie lives, is possible because a lot of different people thought that it is possible for people who experience intellectual and developmental disabilities to live in supportive housing. So if you have any questions for Julie, she is willing to take those questions right now. We have a couple of minutes that she can do that. And she'll give you her expert advice or expert answer. So again, if you have any questions for Julie Verdue as the expert in supportive housing, go ahead, type them in using that control panel, and she will answer them. While you're thinking about that, I'm going to ask Julie, So you said the best thing about living in supportive housing is making your own rules. All right. So is it important for people to make their own rules?
Yes.
All right. And who tells you what you have to have for dinner?
No one.
You get to decide what you
Yeah.
have for dinner. So who gets to decide how you spend your day?
Me.
You do. Now, do you work?
Yeah, I looked at YMCA Time Fair and I volunteer at Anderson and I work at Zoe's.
All right. So you do have to keep a schedule because of your employment and your volunteer work.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're kind of doing your own thing. All right. So what if you want to have a friend or two over to have dinner with you? Is that okay?
Yes.
Do you have to ask anybody?
No.
All right. Well, let's see if anybody has any questions for you. Oh, this is a great question. Can people with wheelchairs, so people who use wheelchairs, can they live in supportive housing?
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, and all of the apartments here at the May building are accessible. So Terry, you would be very welcome to live in this type of accessible supportive housing. So, and maybe that's something as you are thinking about supportive housing, you specifically look for houses or apartments that are accessible. Julie Nelson, do you want to share anything about accessibility and supportive housing?
Yeah, so once somebody starts applying, so how it works is sometimes there's wait lists. So you have to put in some special applications to get an apartment on your own. So when you're putting in applications and filling out paperwork, you can do this, or if you need support to do this, that's all great. And what you do is you just put in what kind of supports you need. So if I need support with getting to appointments or reminders, I can put that down. If I need a wheelchair accessible apartment building, an apartment, I can put that down. Or maybe I use other kinds of assistive devices. Maybe I use a cane or a walker. Anything that I need, I can put down in my applications to make sure I get matched to an apartment that's just right for me. Because no one should be in an apartment that doesn't work for them, that they can't get around in comfortably. So all of that is part of filling out applications to get an apartment that's just right for you.
And I know that if you think of any other questions after this webinar, we are going to share the contact information so that you can get into contact with either Julie Verdu or Julie Nelson to ask those questions.
Housing is the beginning, not the end.
Housing is the beginning, not the end. And I like that. So thank you for sharing. Sometimes people say, if I only get housing, supportive housing, then everything will be fine. And that's kind of the end. But you know, housing is the beginning. It's the beginning of this wonderful new opportunity to learn and to grow. What about this supportive housing coffee talk? Julie Nelson, what's that all about?
So I am so excited to share that if you have more questions or you're not sure what first step to take, or maybe you just want to learn more about supportive housing, you don't even know if it's right for you, but you want to ask some questions, or maybe you have a friend that wants to ask some questions. So what we're going to do at CSH, I'm going to be on the phone on Wednesday, January 31st, and actually that's tomorrow, right? So I'm going to be on the phone tomorrow between 4 and 5, and I'm going to be on the phone again on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I'm just going to be there hanging out. So if you want to call in or if your friends or family want to call in and ask any questions about supportive housing, the phone number is right on your screen, and I think Christine is going to send that out. So you can call 1-866-840-0048, and then you're going to hear kind of a computer voice come on, and it's going to say, what is your conference code? So then you're going to enter the second number, and once you enter that second number, I'll be on the line with you. So that way you can ask any questions you want about supportive housing. And we're going to keep offering these every month. So we're going to start sending them out on an email list. And I bet Christine will share those dates with you through the Alliance and put them on Facebook so that maybe now you don't have questions, but if in a month or two you do, we're going to offer these conference calls so you can call us and ask anything you want.
So what we like to say is whether you like to drink a bottle of water or a cold pop or hot tea or coffee, join us for Supportive Housing Coffee Talk. Now, I had mentioned about the videos, the It's My Home and Tom's Story. So here are the two web addresses so that you can check those out. I'm also going to be posting those on the Alliance's Facebook page because they are awesome short videos, but really give you a sense of what supportive housing can be like. And contact information, again, if you would like to contact either of our presenters, who are Julie Verdu or Julie Nelson, please call 312-332-6690, extension 2828, or you can email julie.nelson@csh.org. So before we close out, I would like to ask Julie Verdu first. First, I'd like to say thank you so much for sharing your experience and expertise in supportive housing.
You're welcome.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
No.
Not really. Okay, she's speechless. She shared a lot, and we're grateful to you, Julie, for opening up your home for me to come in and do this webinar from, and for sharing about supportive housing. And Julie Nelson, thank you for sharing your experience and expertise. And do you have any last thoughts?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us and being a part of the conversation about supportive housing. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here with us today. So thank you.
And on behalf of the Alliance, my name is Christine Beck. I appreciate each of you joining us. Continue to speak up and speak out. Also, check out the recording of this webinar on our Illinois Self-Advocacy Alliance website under webinars, or you can find it on our Facebook page. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.